Yo, what's up, Red Pinks? This is Bearicade. So, in today's video, we will be talking about an operator who has gained a lot of usage time over Neon Dawn coming out because she is a great counter to a lot of operators who tend to be really good for Neon Dawn's playstyle, especially Aruni. And that operator is Iana, and the reason I say that is because Iana, the reason she's like the greatest counter in the game to Rooney is because she literally has infinite ways to shut down a Surya gate. So there's until the time limit runs out, there is just about infinite amount of times that she can destroy it. So let's get straight on into it. So the first thing that you're going to want to know about Iana is you're going to want to know your playstyle. So first off, I'm going to cover players who have a little more of a rushy playstyle because if you've noticed, that is a high majority of the Siege community. Now, a good gun on Iana to use would be the G36C, and the reason I say that, and the reason that you probably don't want to use the ARX if you are a rushy player, is because the G36C has an angled grip, which is something that the ARX lacks, and the angled grip is something that is very valuable for rushers, because of the fact that the tiny amount of time that it takes to go between the hipfire and the ADS viewpoint is key to proper rushing. That's the reason that I use the G36C on Ashe, is because the R4C for me is just not as good of a pick, and a lot of people are like, oh, you should use the R4C because it's her special gun, but don't let people say that. It's up to your personal preference, but that's just what I really like about the G3 over the ARX. Now another thing that you're gonna want to know about the ARX is the fact that if you're running the ARX, if you're not going to run a if you're not gonna run a laser sight, don't rush, because again, there's no angle grip. At least as of Neon Dawn, there is none. So maybe in the future after this video comes out, the ARX might get one. But let's look at the G36C. So as you can see, I run a compensator, an angled grip, and a reflex, and the reason I do that is because, one, the compensator makes for less left and right recoil, and a lot less spread over time for rapid firing. Now the sight is something that's completely up to whatever you want to do. Not that the rest of this gun isn't, but there are a few recommendations that you probably should heed. Now a lot of people will probably say, why are you using the reflex or instead of the 2.0, and the reason I do that is because most of the time when I rush, I end up getting more close quarters combat, and not that the G36C is hard to control in terms of recoil, but it just overall makes it easier to run a less zoomed sight, which will be easier to use up close than a 2.0. Now the next thing that we're gonna get into is why the sights are so important in terms of what do you call it? Opinion. So it's really just your play style. Really, it's just how you like it, and that's just something that you need to remember. And then barrels, like we just looked at, it's whatever you want. I use compensator, but and then angled grip. Please, if you are using the G36C, please do not use the vertical grip. Take the time because the only reason the vertical grip is good is for less recoil. So it would definitely be better for you to take the time and practice and learn how to control the recoil if you don't know how to, because the vertical grip is just overall not as good of a choice. So let's talk about the ARX. So the ARX is guns. There's a gun for more backline players like me. I use the ARX most of the time, unless it's like Oregon, for example. I'll probably use the G36. But as you can see, the ARX is a 2.5, a 1.5, the new red dot, and a holographic and a reflex. I use the 1.5 because for a lot of players, the 2.0 is the Goldilocks zone, and the 2.5 for me is it's too zoomed for me, but occasionally, like on some maps like Bank or Consulate, I'll probably end up using the 2.5, but for most maps, I'll end up using the 1.5 because it's the Goldilocks zone for me. But for you, it may be something else. Hell, some people may even like the more one-times scopes, like the holographic. I know the holographic is very popular on the ARX. So again, it's all up to personal opinion. Now let's go on to the grip. There's really nothing to be said there. It's just a vertical grip, like that's all they have. So there's no reason you shouldn't run it, because you gain nothing from not running it. But if you're going to run a barrel, I suggest the compensator, and if you're not going to run the compensator, the muzzle brake is a good choice. I know the muzzle brake is very popular on the ARX. Just please don't run a flash hider or a suppressor. I mean, a suppressor if you want to is fine, but the flash hider does not help you at all because the ARX is either semi-auto or full auto. There's no burst. So there's literally no reason for the flash hider for it to be on your gun. And if you're going to rush with the ARX, please, 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 please use a laser sight. It's because if you're not going to ADS quick, you might as well have it to where while you're aiming in that animation, you should at least have a tiny bit more accuracy because of the ADS, or non-ADS, accuracy that comes with using the laser sight. So that's very important. That's something that you should definitely use if you're not going to rush. And yeah, I don't think there's too much else to talk about in terms of the ARX. So let's get into her ability. So her ability is the Gemini Replicator, and we will get into that right now. Okay, so the Gemini Replicator is Iana's signature ability, and it allows her to clone herself through drones, which you can see right at the beginning of that clip that is playing right now. If you pause it, you can see that there's little tiny drones in the middle of her hologram, that which allow her to move and anything else. However, this does not mean that if they miss the drones within the hologram, it does not get destroyed. If the Gemini is shot in any place whatsoever, it is destroyed instantly. So when it is destroyed, it has approximately 30-second cooldown. However, if you run out of time with the Gemini or you voluntarily go out of it, it's about a 10 to 15-second cooldown. So it is very important that you use it right. Another thing is you probably want to make sure that when you're using it, you have a good spot where you're probably not going to get shot. So out in the open or in a highly populated area that is normally highly populated, that is, that's not a good spot to use the Gemini. Once you get really good at Iana and you start understanding good spots and where to go and all that, you may be able to start taking somewhat riskier spots, but even then you probably don't want to run that unless you're running the G36 because again it has the angle grip. So first thing that we're going to get into with the Gemini is it can do a soft ping, however it cannot scan. So soft pinging is something that you are going to want to do a lot. So that is kind of the basics of the Gemini Replicator. There are other things you can use it for, like destroying a Surya gate. If you run through an Aruni gate, it will destroy it, or shut it down, I guess. Now, good counters to Melusi, or not Melusi, Iana is Melusi. The Capcan, anybody with cameras, so Echo, Valk, Maestro. And the reason I say that is because a Gemini, her Gemini is not scannable or pingable. So you cannot, as of right now, as of this recording of the audio, it is not pingable. It may be in the future, but as of right now, it is not. So if you're a Valkyrie and you scan the Iana, and you're not getting it scanned, then you know that they are Geminiing, so you can rush where they were and kill them. And so you have to be careful with how you use it. And Maestro's thing will not give off a heat signature if you are using the Gemini. At least I know that's how it used to be. I'm not sure if it's that way anymore, because for whatever reason, whenever I'm playing Maestro, nobody's playing Iana, and whenever I'm playing Iana, nobody's playing Maestro. So, I don't know. So, the next thing that we need to get into is probably the fact that if you're going to use the Gemini for other reasons besides droning out an arrow, you have to be ready to use your drone instead of your Gemini. The thing about the drone that is not as good as the Gemini is the fact that it fools opponents. And so, you know, an enemy can, maybe, like, if they're not being seen by the drone, they don't have to shoot at the drone to not spoil their position with their gunshot or whatever. But with the Gemini, it's a different story, because 99% of the time, people are going to be like, oh, there's an enemy, I should shoot them. But then, surprise, surprise, it's a Gemini, and so they end up spoiling their position to the rest of your team by shooting. Now, they could get out of that area quickly, but if your team knows what they're doing, they will make sure that person is dead on the ground before they can go anywhere. So, that's something that you can do with the Gemini Replicator. Another thing that you can do with the Gemini is you can do a fake out, which you can see it's being done anywhere with a GUD Iana. I'll try to put a clip up of me doing it on the screen, but if I can't find one, then that's sad. But what you do is you double click your Iana Gemini Replicator button, whether you're on console or PC. I personally play on console, and the only reason you've heard a mouse throughout this recording is because I'm doing the recording of this audio on my computer. So you're gonna want to press it twice, and you're gonna want to press it twice quick. That second time needs to be in quick succession to the first one, and it will cancel it, but it will still do the sound animation, the sound. And so you can fool opponents to get them to rush you if you don't know where they are. I use this multiple times, and it's very, very, very powerful. I've gotten multiple kills doing it, and it's a lot of fun to use. Okay, so now to get into some more advanced tactics with Iana, because, you know, we've gone over most of the basics so far. The only real advanced thing that we've talked about is the fake out. But the next thing that we're going to learn how to do is we're going to learn how to make yourself look like you are somewhere else. Entirely. So you're going to make sounds in a different area. You're going to make everything seem completely different from what it actually is. And what I mean by that is, for example, if you're playing Iana, and let's say you're on Oregon, and you drone out a certain area because you just used your Gemini a couple seconds ago, right? And you're waiting for it on cooldown. And you go and you drone out, and you're right on top of the hatch that is next to the main stairs that go through laundry room. And you're sitting on top of that hatch, and maybe like you have a jackal or something sitting next to you, and he's watching you, and you're droning, and you go and you drone because they're in kids' dorms or something, and you go and you drone the stairs up to dormitory stairs. Not the stairs that are right next to you, but the stairs that are across. And you see a cav, for example, going up those stairs. What you can do is, or going down the stairs, sorry. What you can do is you can get her to see your drone, and you can try to get her to go a little farther away, and then you just jump, and while it's in the air, you go out of your drone, so it's still moving, so it still looks like you're in the drone. And then you Gemini. and your jackal can run into what's it called, meeting room, and you can go to the hatch that is up there, and you can drop your Iana in there, and it'll still make the sound, because when you're playing Iana, the sounds that a player would make also happens with the Gemini. So it would make sense to go over there and drop the Iana down there and go out of your Gemini again. The cav will hear that, be, ooh, I can go and get in a tarot, go either down the stairs and around, or go down that hatch. But by the time you're doing it, she's probably on the path she was going again. Except she's going to be a little more cautious, and she's going to be listening for things, and you can use that against her. It's little things like that where you can make your Gemini make sounds somewhere else on the map, and be quiet up until you get to the point of where you want to make the sound. It's sort of a diversion lore. It's very powerful, and it's very hard to pull off in some areas, but it's a lot. It's very rewarding when you pull it off. So that's like another advanced tactic you could do. Another one is to, when you're breaking a barricade, do it with a frag grenade. You throw the frag grenade, you back up, and then you do your Gemini. But you do it when the frag grenade is about to explode, so you cover up the sound of your Gemini with the explosive, and so it will sound as if it is you, the player, going in there, and you can definitely fool opponents by doing that. That is relatively easy to do. You just need to make sure that you back up enough to where the frag grenade won't destroy your Gemini. And the Gemini has like 1 health exactly, so anything in the game will destroy it. Anything. Besides maybe throwing a Valk camera at it. Even that may destroy it. I'm not sure. I haven't tried that. But it has very little health, so anything will destroy it. So you can be so far away from the frag grenade that it's only going to do 1 damage, and your Gemini will still turn off. So there's something that is important, and that's something that can work. I think there is a clip in here somewhere of me doing that on Yacht, but there might not be a clip in here of me doing that. But yeah, so it's little advanced things like that, and you'll definitely find more over time. Those are kind of the only ones I can think of for right now, in terms of advanced tactics. But yeah, so let's maybe start getting into what you should do in the event of a 5-stack, or a 4-stack, or a 3-stack, because Iana is a terrible operator for solo queuing or duo queuing, because of the fact that she's very support and team based, and it's very hard to play her without communication with your team. So let's get into team composition. Okay, so for team composition, that is one of the most important factors of really playing smart with your Iana. Now this section may not be for players who tend to solo queue, or maybe just don't have a stack to play with. If this is the case, if you are on PC, you can use things like Moot or Squad Finder, anything like that. And if you're on Xbox, it's as simple as going to look for a group post or making a looking for group. There are definitely ways to find stacks. You just need to reach out. So the thing about Iana is that a team that if you're gonna rush in, it's probably best that you have like a Hibana, or like a Hibana and maybe a Thatcher. And what this will do is this will allow the Hibana to keep up with your high speeds, and it will allow the Thatcher to take anything out really quickly and efficiently. So so that's a good thing to do for like hard breaching a wall. And the other 2 operators, it really doesn't matter what you do. And Yang is a good choice, because when you're playing as Iana, when you're in her Gemini, if you are flashbanged by a teammate, you cannot be blinded in that. But let's say you get blinded and then you immediately come out of the Gemini, you will be blinded, which is a very interesting factor because that doesn't happen with drones, that doesn't happen with cameras, that doesn't happen with anything. That's only for Iana. And the reason for that being is the fact that with any other operator, it's literally just a phone. And you know how if you're in a dimly lit room, a bright light is you're not gonna like it, like your eyes are gonna react negatively to that. But if it's literally your eyes that are looking there, you're going to be blinded, quite literally. So it makes sense for that to happen. It's a very interesting and scientifically sound feature. So you have to be careful with your team and all that kind of stuff, with flashbangs and all that kind of stuff. But it is nice to be able to not be blinded, so you can have the Ying just throw in a bunch of smoke grenades and flashes, and you can just stand by the door and wait while they're planting or something like that. And this is all if Ying's not banned, you know, like Ying has a pretty high ban rate, so you'd have to watch out for that part. But other than that, you're probably fine. Again, it's just team composition, but if you're running the ARX, you might want to run a Maverick and a Cali as opposed to a Habana and a Thatcher, because the Maverick can play it a little slower and more efficiently, because Habana makes everything messy and makes everything harder than it needs to be, but Mavericks is slower. So you could either have slow and clean, or you could either have fast and sloppy. Wow, that's what she said. But, yeah, so there's not much else in terms of team composition, and you know, and these are just suggestions, you know, if you have a team that you really click with, y'all will know who to play with the Iana, and sometimes Iana just isn't the best pick. That's something you have to know about Iana. This goes for every other operator, but especially operators like Iana, that maybe aren't the best operator in the game. I hate to say it because I main her. Iana is a terrible, terrible, terrible operator. Her ability is not sound enough to keep you on your feet enough. It makes you very vulnerable. She's not even fast. She's like average slow. The only thing that makes her good is if you absolutely know what you're doing, and that's the reason I made this video, is because she's going to be a huge operator in Neon Dawn. So it's something that people need to start picking up now in order to get higher ranks. I am playing Iana in my placement matches a lot, and we have won about 60, 70, 80% of them, and we've only done 6 of them. So if you keep up what you're doing now with either Iana or any operator that you're good at, you'll go up, essentially. I don't really have much else for Iana in this video, but I really hope that y'all enjoyed it. It was something, a lot of work and time went into this video. I had to download music for the background music. No, I had to record some of it, actually, because I couldn't find a good download thing for Rock Angel. So I had to record that. It's not illegal, I swear. It is royalty free, so at least last time I checked it is. But yeah. So I don't think I have much else to say, like I just said. I'm getting to the point of repeating myself. That's when you know it's time to stop. But with all that being said, just make sure that if you're gonna play Iana, make sure you do it right. Make sure you take a lot, if not all, of the things I've said in this video into account. And make sure that if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, because it does help out the channel, and it lets us know that you are enjoying the stuff that we're doing. Make sure that you watch out for Kaz's video that should be coming out soon, for Zophia's Mastery. And I think Squishy is doing a video soon on Ace. But if he's not doing Ace, then he's probably doing Warden. But yeah, with all that being said, this has been your boy Bearicade. I'll see y'all in the next Red Pings video. Stay champions. Peace.